Hi guys, my name is Chris and you're watching Wrestling Today, so let's start with welcome to the coverage of WWE Elimination Chamber 2025. The PLE began with the Women's Chamber match. Bliss was the first competitor to make her entrance and enter a pod, and the two women chosen to open the match were Naomi and Morgan. Before the contest could begin, though, Jade Cargill came to the ring and attacked Naomi instead of Morgan, which is what everyone was expecting. Belair pleaded from inside the pod as the storm decimated the glow. Cargill left, and Naomi was declared unfit to fight and taken away on a stretcher. Morgan waited for the next competitor to be released, which was the EST of WWE. She tried to get to Naomi outside the cage until Morgan attacked her and started throwing her into the chamber. Here is the order of entry for the competitors. Morgan and Naomi began. Belair, Perez, Bayley, Bliss. Naomi was the only person who had been eliminated by the time all of the competitors were in the match. Surprisingly, Bayley was the next eliminated. She was soon followed by Perez. Morgan eliminated Bliss to narrow the field down to her and Belair. Both women came close to winning several times before it finally ended with the EST hitting a KOD for the pin and the win. This was a fun chamber match. The next match featured Trish and Stratton taking on Jax and LeRae. The Poison Pixie and the 7-time champion began for their teams. It didn't take long for the fight to spill out of the ring so all four women could get involved. There were times when it looked like Trish was hesitant to do something, but then other times when she threw herself into the moves she was doing. It took her a little time to get comfortable in the ring again, but she got there eventually. After a hot start, there was a bit of a lull in the middle of the bout, but they eventually started picking up the pace again. While the match was bookended by some entertaining action, it felt like they slowed down too much in the middle. Stratton was able to pick up the win for her team by hitting her signature moonsault on Jax. WWE takes no responsibility for what happens during this unsanctioned match. The lights were turned down in the arena as Owens and Zayn circled each other in the ring. KO threw the first punch and then it was off to the races. Zayn was selling his injured neck a lot in the early moments. It didn't take long for them to start digging around under the ring for weapons. After a few chairs were used, Zayn grabbed a hockey stick to get a big pop from the Canadian crowd. This was a brutal fight that took both men into the crowd and used everything they could find to inflict damage. The crowd was eating it up as the friends-turned-rivals punished each other. This wasn't a typical contest, so it's tougher to judge it against the rest of the card. Technical ability wasn't as important as how brutal every spot looked. Even without lots of blood, this felt appropriately violent. They are the perfect rivals. Zayn used a chair wrapped in barbed wire several times, but Owens still found a way to kick out. KO eventually hit a powerbomb on the apron. After one more, he finally rolled Zayn into the ring for the pin. This is one of those matches you just need to see for yourself because no recap will do it justice. As it looked like Owens was going to try to attack Zayn following the match, Randy Orton's music hit. He took out the prizefighter with an RKO after he got to the ring. Orton lined up for the punt kick, but Owens rolled out of the ring before he could hit it. The final match was Men's Elimination Chamber. Paul was the first man to enter a pod for the Men's Chamber match. McIntyre and Rollins began as the first two men in the ring. Here is the order of entry for the competitors. Rollins and McIntyre began. Priest, Paul, Cena, Punk. The Toronto crowd was more anti-Paul than anything else, so the cheers and boos depended on whether he was being beaten up or doing the beating for some time. McIntyre was surprisingly eliminated first, and that was followed by Paul eliminating Priest with a frog splash from on top of the pod. A few minutes later, Punk eliminated the Maverick with a GTS that got a massive pop. Punk turned down a handshake from Cena and hugged him instead, but then they started throwing punches. Rollins, Punk and Cena have a lot of history between them, so the final three spent a long time in the ring together. Cena spent several minutes recovering after being put through one of the pod windows. Once he recovered, he and Punk both hit Rollins with their finisher to eliminate him from the match. Rollins stayed at ringside and hit Punk with a stomp before watching as Cena made the best in the world pass out with an STF to score the win and earn a title shot against Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41. Cena was still in the ring following his chamber win, and rapper Travis Scott was with The Rock for some reason. Rock asked Rhodes to embrace him and accept his offer while Scott began smoking in the corner next to Cena. The American Nightmare said he had already given his soul to the ring and the fans, and then he told Rocky to go F himself, which got a massive pop. Cena applauded Rhodes' decision as The Rock stared at him motionless for a long time. Cena hugged Rhodes and then got a signal from the final boss. He delivered a low blow to Rhodes to turn heel for the first time. Rock watched as Cena took Rhodes apart while the crowd gave a mixed reaction. Some were happy to see Cena turn heel after so many years, and others were unhappy to see it happen this way. As soon as it was clear Cena was not going to leave the ring, the heel turn was telegraphed, but it still had a big impact because the veteran has been a babyface for so long. This was a solid show from top to bottom, and it's going to keep fans talking this week. Thanks guys for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.